A 78-year-old woman was pronounced hopeless by 3 different doctors, but then she did something so ridiculously simple that it reversed her memory loss in just 4 days. And what happened next will make you question everything you've been told about aging. Ruth's own children had already started looking at nursing homes, her grandchildren were saying their final goodbyes, and her bank account was nearly drained from desperate medical treatments that failed miserably. But here's the kicker: Ruth didn't have dementia, Alzheimer's, or any serious brain disease. She was the victim of something far more sinister and widespread that's secretly destroying millions of perfectly healthy senior minds right now. And chances are, it's happening to someone you love at this very moment. I'm talking about the confidence crisis that's silently destroying minds faster than any disease ever could. And the shocking truth is that most seniors who seem to be losing their memory are actually just losing faith in their own abilities. What I'm about to share with you saved Ruth's life at 78 years old, and it's going to challenge everything you believe about aging and cognitive health. But here's the part that will blow your mind. The medical industry has been lying to you about memory loss, and they're profiting from your fear while the real solution costs absolutely nothing and can be implemented by anyone, anywhere starting today. You see, there's a dirty little secret the medical industry doesn't want you to know. The majority of seniors experiencing memory problems aren't dealing with dementia or serious cognitive decline. They're victims of what experts call memory self-efficacy breakdown. This phenomenon is so powerful that it can make a perfectly healthy 70-year-old behave like someone with advanced memory loss, simply because they've lost confidence in their own mind. The tragic irony? While families are desperately searching for medical solutions and spending thousands on treatments, the real problem is happening right under their noses, in their daily interactions, their well-meaning protection, and their own fear-based responses to normal age-related changes. But here's where it gets really interesting, and frankly, a little controversial. The current approach to memory concerns in seniors is not just ineffective, it's actively harmful. Every time we rush to fill in their words, make excuses for their forgetfulness, or shield them from mental challenges, we're actually accelerating their cognitive decline. We're teaching their brains that they're incapable, unreliable, and broken, when in reality, they just need their confidence rebuilt and their natural abilities reinforced. This isn't some feel-good theory. This is backed by solid research showing that seniors who maintain confidence in their memory abilities significantly outperform those who don't, regardless of their actual cognitive function. What happened to Ruth's family will shock you, because it reveals how quickly things can turn around when you address the real problem instead of chasing symptoms. In just days, not months or years, Ruth went from avoiding conversations and hiding from social situations to actively engaging with her family, remembering names, and reclaiming her independence. The method was so simple that it almost seemed too easy, but that's exactly why it works where expensive treatments fail. Instead of focusing on what Ruth couldn't do, this approach rebuilt her confidence in what she could still accomplish, creating a positive spiral that improved both her memory function and her overall quality of life. The most powerful part of this story isn't just Ruth's transformation, it's how her family learned to become her greatest allies instead of her unwitting saboteurs. They discovered that maintaining cognitive health in seniors isn't about preventing decline. It's about creating opportunities for success, preserving dignity, and helping elderly loved ones continue contributing meaningfully to their families and communities. If you're watching someone you love struggle with memory concerns, or if you're worried about your own cognitive future, what I'm about to reveal will give you hope and, more importantly, practical tools to help anyone maintain their joviality and autonomy well into their golden years. You know, there's something deeply unsettling about watching someone you love slowly slip away, piece by piece. I've been friends with Ruth's family for over 2 decades, and I'll never forget the first time her daughter Sarah called me, voice trembling with that particular kind of worry that sits heavy in your chest. "She's been calling me by my sister's name," Sarah whispered, as if saying it quietly might somehow make it less real. Ruth, this vibrant 78-year-old woman who could remember every birthday, every anniversary, every tiny detail that made her family feel loved, was suddenly stumbling over the names of people she'd known for decades. It wasn't just occasional mix-ups. It was becoming a pattern that made everyone's heart skip a beat. The small details started vanishing first, like morning mist dissolving in sunlight. Ruth would pause mid-sentence, searching for words that had always come so naturally, her eyes holding that distant look of someone reaching for something just out of grasp. She'd forget where she placed her reading glasses, then spend 20 minutes looking for them while they sat perched on her head, something we might all do occasionally, but with Ruth, it was happening daily. The woman who used to organize family reunions with military precision was now asking the same questions repeatedly, as if her mind couldn't quite hold on to the answers. Her family watched helplessly as this cornerstone of their lives began to show cracks in her mental foundation. What broke everyone's heart wasn't just the forgetfulness. It was watching Ruth retreat into herself. She'd sit quietly during family dinners, nodding along but barely contributing to conversations she once dominated with her sharp wit and endless stories. The fear of saying the wrong thing, of mixing up names or forgetting important details, was slowly silencing the woman who had been their family's greatest storyteller. You could see it in her eyes, that growing uncertainty about her own mind, the way she'd second-guess herself before speaking, as if her confidence was eroding along with her memory. It's heartbreaking to watch someone question their own thoughts, especially when that someone has always been your rock. The family's concern grew deeper when Ruth started avoiding her weekly bridge games with friends she'd known for 40 years. These weren't just social gatherings, they were her lifeline, her source of joy and mental stimulation that had kept her sharp well into her 70s. But now the thought of potentially embarrassing herself, of not remembering card rules or mixing up her friends' names, felt too risky. She'd make excuses about being tired or having other commitments, but everyone knew the real reason. The woman who once prided herself on her quick thinking and social grace was now hiding from the very activities that had always brought her the most happiness, and this retreat was perhaps the most telling sign of all. As I watched this unfold from the outside, I couldn't help but think about how many families are quietly struggling with similar situations. Ruth's story isn't unique, it's happening in homes across the country, where loved ones are grappling with a delicate balance between concern and hope, between protecting dignity and seeking help. The signs were there, clear as daylight to anyone paying attention, but like so many families facing this challenge, Ruth's loved ones found themselves caught between acknowledging the reality and hoping it was just a phase. Little did they know that their journey was just beginning, and the path ahead would test not just Ruth's memory, but the entire family's resilience and love. Here's the thing about denial. It's not just refusing to see the truth. It's actively building walls around uncomfortable realities until they become invisible. Ruth's family had perfected this art without even realizing it, transforming every concerning incident into something perfectly normal and explainable. When Ruth forgot her grandson's birthday for the first time in 20 years, her son quickly rationalized it. Mom's been so busy with her garden club activities, no wonder she's a bit scattered. The family had become experts at rewriting the narrative, turning each red flag into a green light that said everything was fine. It's fascinating how the human mind can protect itself from pain by simply refusing to acknowledge what's right in front of us, especially when it involves someone we can't imagine living without. The excuses became more creative as the incidents became more frequent, like a desperate game of mental gymnastics that no one wanted to win. Sarah would tell her friends that her mother was just having senior moments, a phrase that somehow made everything sound normal and temporary. When Ruth got lost driving to the grocery store she'd visited weekly for 30 years, the family convinced themselves it was because of new construction that had changed the familiar route. They'd gathered around the kitchen table, each family member contributing their own theory about traffic patterns and road closures, anything to avoid the elephant in the room. The power of collective denial is remarkable. When everyone agrees to see the same alternative reality, it becomes almost impossible to break through to the truth. Ruth herself became the most skilled architect of her own denial, crafting elaborate justifications for every memory lapse with the precision of a master storyteller. She'd blame her forgetfulness on being too busy thinking about important things, or claim that she was simply choosing to focus on the present rather than dwelling on details. When she couldn't remember her neighbor's name during a conversation, she'd smoothly redirect the topic, saying something like, "Names aren't important anyway, it's the heart that matters." Her ability to maintain dignity while her world was slowly crumbling was both admirable and heartbreaking. Like many seniors facing cognitive challenges, Ruth had developed an entire arsenal of coping mechanisms designed to preserve her sense of autonomy and self-worth. The family's protective instincts kicked into overdrive, creating a bubble of artificial normalcy that felt safe but ultimately harmful. They'd finish Ruth's sentences when she struggled to find words, cover for her when she repeated stories at family gatherings, and gently guide conversations away from topics that might expose her difficulties. Everyone became complicit in this elaborate dance of avoidance, believing they were being kind and supportive. But what they didn't realize was that their well-intentioned protection was actually preventing Ruth from getting the help she needed to maintain her health and joviality as she aged. The very love that motivated their denial was inadvertently robbing her the chance to address these challenges while they were still manageable. As months passed, the weight of maintaining this facade began to take its toll on everyone involved. Ruth was exhausting herself trying to appear normal, spending tremendous mental energy on covering up her struggles instead of dealing with them directly. The family was walking on eggshells, constantly monitoring conversations and situations to prevent embarrassing moments. The stress of pretending everything was fine while secretly worrying about Ruth's future was creating tension in relationships and affecting everyone's ability to embellish or calm sob themselves. Deep down, they all knew that this approach wasn't sustainable, but admitting that would mean facing the scary reality they'd been working so hard to avoid, a reality that would soon demand their attention whether they were ready or not. When denial finally cracked under the weight of reality, Ruth's family threw themselves into action with the desperation of people who'd wasted too much precious time. Sarah became a research warrior, spending sleepless nights scouring medical journals, online forums, and every possible resource about maintaining cognitive health in seniors. They started with their family doctor, who ran the standard tests and prescribed the usual suspects: vitamin B12, omega-3 supplements, and gentle suggestions about staying active. But when weeks passed without any noticeable improvement in Ruth's ability to remember names or follow conversations, the family's hope began to mix with a growing sense of urgency. The clock was ticking, and they could feel it in every forgotten word, every confused moment that seemed to steal a little more of the Ruth they'd always known. The medical marathon that followed was both exhausting and expensive, like running through a maze where every turn led to another dead end. They consulted neurologists who ordered brain scans, psychiatrists who suggested antidepressants, and specialists who recommended cognitive assessments that left Ruth feeling frustrated and diminished. Each appointment cost hundreds of dollars, and the family's savings account began to shrink as quickly as their optimism. Ruth underwent MRIs, blood tests, and neuropsychological evaluations that revealed nothing definitive, just the vague diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment that felt more like a label than a solution. The medical system, designed to treat diseases rather than prevent decline, offered little hope for someone who wanted to maintain their autonomy and continue living independently. Desperate for answers, the family ventured into the world of alternative solutions, spending thousands on supplements promising to boost brain power and memory enhancement programs that claimed miraculous results. Ruth's kitchen counter became a pharmacy of bottles containing ginkgo biloba, phosphatidylserine, and exotic compounds with names she couldn't pronounce, much less remember to take consistently. They invested in brain-training apps, crossword puzzle subscriptions, and memory games that were supposed to keep her mind sharp but only seemed to highlight her growing struggles. The cruel irony wasn't lost on anyone. The very activities meant to help her remember were becoming constant reminders of what she was losing, creating a cycle of frustration that affected her confidence and overall well-being. The emotional toll of this endless search began to fracture the family's unity, as different members championed different approaches with increasing desperation. Sarah insisted on trying every new supplement advertised online, while her brother wanted to focus on traditional medical treatments, and her sister believed in the power of social engagement and mental stimulation. Arguments broke out over dinner tables about which approach was right, with Ruth sitting quietly in the middle, watching her children debate her future as if she wasn't there. The stress of constant worry, combined with the financial strain of pursuing every possible lead, was taking its toll on everyone's health and relationships. What had started as a loving effort to help Ruth maintain her joviality in her golden years had become a source of division and exhaustion that threatened to tear the family apart. After 18 months of this relentless pursuit, the family found themselves emotionally drained, financially depleted, and no closer to a solution than when they'd started. Ruth had become increasingly withdrawn, tired of being the subject of constant medical attention and frustrated by her lack of progress despite everyone's best efforts. The supplements sat unopened on her counter, the brain-training apps remained unused on her tablet, and the stack of medical bills grew higher with each passing month. The family had learned the hard way that there's no quick fix for cognitive decline, no magic bullet that can restore what time and biology have slowly eroded. But what they didn't realize was that their approach had been missing a crucial element, one that would soon change everything about how they understood Ruth's condition and, more importantly, how they could help her thrive despite it. Sometimes the most profound breakthroughs come not from finding new solutions, but from discovering we've been asking the wrong questions all along. That's exactly what happened when Ruth's family finally connected with Dr. Martinez, a geriatrician who worked alongside a remarkable team including Maria, a physical therapist, and Janet, an occupational therapist specializing in cognitive health for seniors. What made this team different wasn't their credentials or fancy equipment. It was their understanding of something called memory self-efficacy, a concept that would revolutionize how Ruth and her family approach her challenges. Dr. Martinez explained it simply. The confidence an elderly person has in their own memory abilities is often more important than the actual memory function itself. This wasn't just medical jargon. It was a key that would unlock Ruth's potential to maintain her autonomy and continue living with dignity well into her golden years. The team's approach was refreshingly different from everything Ruth had experienced before, focusing not on what she couldn't do, but on rebuilding her confidence in what she could still accomplish. They explained that as people age, their belief in their own cognitive abilities tends to decline faster than their actual cognitive function, a phenomenon that creates a vicious cycle of fear, anxiety, and withdrawal from meaningful activities. Maria, the physical therapist, put it perfectly. When someone loses faith in their mind, they stop challenging it, and that's when real decline accelerates. The team understood that Ruth's growing reluctance to engage in conversations, play bridge, or participate in family activities wasn't just about memory. It was about her diminishing confidence in her ability to perform these tasks successfully. This insight was like turning on a light in a dark room, suddenly making everything clear about why traditional treatments had failed. The concept of memory self-efficacy revealed why Ruth had been retreating from life despite her family's best efforts to help. Every time she struggled to remember a name or lost track of a conversation, her confidence took another hit, making her less likely to put herself in similar situations again. Janet, the occupational therapist, showed the family how this creates a downward spiral. Reduced confidence leads to social withdrawal, which leads to less mental stimulation, which leads to further cognitive decline and even lower confidence. It's like a muscle that weakens from lack of use. The more Ruth avoided challenging her memory, the more her brain adapted to this reduced demand. The team explained that this cycle affects millions of seniors who are still capable of maintaining their joviality and independence, but who've lost faith in their own abilities to do so. The solution wasn't about pushing Ruth harder or giving her more supplements. It was about carefully rebuilding her confidence through small, manageable successes. Dr. Martinez and his team started with simple exercises that Ruth could easily accomplish, like organizing her medication by color and shape rather than trying to memorize complex schedules. They encouraged her to start journaling about positive memories and experiences, which helped her focus on what she could remember rather than what she couldn't. Maria introduced gentle physical activities like walking in her garden while naming the plants and flowers, exercises that combine movement with memory in a natural, enjoyable way. These weren't revolutionary techniques, but they were specifically designed to help Ruth experience success and rebuild her belief in her own capabilities, which is crucial for any senior who wants to maintain their health and independence as they age. The family learned practical strategies they could implement immediately to support Ruth's growing confidence and help her maintain her cognitive abilities. Instead of finishing her sentences or covering for her mistakes, they learned to give her time to find her own words and celebrate small victories when she did. They created photo albums with names clearly written beneath each picture, allowing Ruth to review and reinforce her memory of family members and friends without the pressure of being tested. The team taught them how to structure conversations in ways that played to Ruth's strengths, asking about her childhood stories, her cooking techniques, or her gardening wisdom, topics where her long-term memory could shine and rebuild her confidence. These simple but powerful techniques help the entire family understand that supporting someone's cognitive health isn't just about medical treatments. It's about creating an environment where they can experience success, maintain their sense of purpose, and continue contributing to the family in meaningful ways. What happened next was nothing short of miraculous, not because of some expensive treatment or revolutionary drug, but because Ruth began to rediscover the person she'd always been beneath the fear and uncertainty. Within just a few days of implementing the team's confidence-building approach, Sarah noticed something remarkable. Ruth was calling her by the right name consistently, and more importantly, she was initiating conversations instead of just responding to them. The change wasn't dramatic like in the movies. It was subtle, organic, like watching a flower slowly bloom in spring sunlight. Ruth started smiling more often. Her eyes regained that sparkle of curiosity that had been missing for months, and she began sharing stories from her past with a vivid detail that had always made her such a captivating storyteller. The family realized that they hadn't just been watching Ruth lose her memory. They'd been watching her lose her confidence, her joy, and her sense of self-worth. The simple daily exercises that Dr. Martinez's team had recommended became the foundation for Ruth's remarkable transformation, proving that sometimes the most powerful solutions are hiding in plain sight. Ruth's morning routine now included a gentle walk through her neighborhood, where she would practice naming the different types of trees and flowers, an activity that combined physical movement with memory recall in a natural, enjoyable way. She started tending to her small herb garden again, which required her to remember watering schedules, plant names, and growing techniques, but did so in a context that felt purposeful rather than like a medical exercise. These weren't just busy work. They were activities that helped Ruth maintain her autonomy while simultaneously strengthening her cognitive abilities and boosting her confidence. The beauty of this approach was that it didn't feel like treatment. It felt like living, and that made all the difference in the world. Ruth's return to her weekly bridge games marked a turning point that surprised everyone, including herself. Armed with her renewed confidence and some practical strategies from Janet, the occupational therapist, Ruth approached the card table with a mixture of excitement and determination that her friends hadn't seen in over a year. She used simple techniques like keeping a small notebook with her friends' names and taking brief moments to center herself before making decisions, tools that helped her navigate conversations without the paralyzing fear of making mistakes. The first game was tentative, but with each successful play, each correctly remembered rule, and each shared laugh with her longtime friends, Ruth felt pieces of her old self clicking back into place. Her joviality, that infectious joy and enthusiasm for life that had always defined her, was returning stronger than ever, and it was having a positive ripple effect on everyone around her. The physical activities that had once seemed impossible were gradually becoming part of Ruth's daily routine again, creating a positive feedback loop that improved both her cognitive function and her overall quality of life. Simple tasks like climbing the stairs to her bedroom, which she'd started avoiding out of fear of falling or getting confused, became opportunities for gentle exercise that improved her balance and coordination. She returned to her beloved gardening with renewed passion, spending hours planting vegetables and flowers while engaging in the kind of problem-solving and planning that keeps the mind sharp and engaged. These activities weren't just about physical health. They were about reclaiming her independence and proving to herself that she was still capable of caring for herself and her home. The confidence she gained from successfully completing these daily tasks spilled over into every aspect of her life, helping her maintain her autonomy and continue living the vibrant, engaged life she'd always enjoyed. Perhaps most importantly, Ruth's transformation showed her family that the journey of aging doesn't have to be about inevitable decline and loss. It can be about adaptation, growth, and discovering new ways to thrive. The woman who had been retreating from life just months earlier was now planning family dinners, organizing photo albums, and even talking about traveling to visit her grandchildren across the country. Her memory wasn't perfect. It never would be. But her confidence in her ability to navigate life's challenges had been restored, and that made all the difference. The family learned that supporting someone's cognitive health isn't just about preventing decline. It's about creating opportunities for success, maintaining dignity, and helping them continue to contribute meaningfully to their family and community. Ruth's story became a testament to the power of believing in yourself, no matter what age you are, and the incredible impact that confidence can have on our ability to live fully and joyfully throughout our golden years. So here's the million-dollar question that's going to determine whether you just watched another video or actually changed someone's life today. What are you going to do with this information? Are you going to close this video and pretend that Ruth's story is just a nice tale? Or are you going to have the courage to look at your own elderly loved ones and ask yourself the hard questions? When was the last time you truly listened to your parent, grandparent, or elderly neighbor without rushing to fill in their words or finish their sentences? When did you last create an opportunity for them to succeed instead of protecting them from potential failure? Because right now, as you're watching this, there's probably someone in your life who's slowly retreating from the world, not because they're losing their mind, but because they're losing their confidence, and you have the power to change that starting today. Think about it. How many times have you unknowingly contributed to an elderly person's decline by being helpful? How many times have you made excuses for their forgetfulness instead of encouraging them to challenge their memory? The brutal truth is that most families are accidentally accelerating their loved one's cognitive decline through well-meaning but misguided protection. But now you know better, and knowing better means you have a responsibility to do better. Ruth's transformation didn't happen because of expensive treatments or miraculous interventions. It happened because someone finally believed in her ability to succeed and gave her the tools to rebuild her confidence. The question is, are you going to be that person for someone in your life? Here's what I want you to do right now. And I mean literally right now, not later or when you have time. Pick up your phone and call, text, or visit an elderly person in your life. Ask them about a skill they used to be proud of, a story from their past, or their advice on something they know well. Listen to their response without interrupting, without correcting, and without rushing to help. Give them the gift of being heard, valued, and trusted with their own thoughts and memories. Then, over the next few days, start implementing the simple strategies you learned from Ruth's story. Create opportunities for small successes, encourage physical activities they enjoy, and most importantly, rebuild their confidence in their own abilities to maintain their autonomy, and continue living with joviality. But here's the thing. This isn't just about helping others. It's about preparing yourself for your own future. Every single one of us is going to face the challenges of aging, and the way we approach cognitive health today will determine our quality of life tomorrow. Are you going to be the person who panics at the first sign of forgetfulness, or the one who understands that confidence and self-efficacy are just as important as brain health? Are you going to fall victim to the medical industry's fear-based approach, or will you focus on building and maintaining the mental resilience that allows people to thrive well into their golden years? The choice is yours, but the time to start is now. Don't let Ruth's story be just another video you watched. Let it be the catalyst that transforms how you think about aging, memory, and the incredible potential that exists within every senior citizen. If this message resonated with you, if you're ready to become part of the solution instead of part of the problem, then I need you to do something important right now. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because this is just the beginning of a conversation that could save lives and preserve dignity for millions of seniors around the world. Share this video with someone who needs to hear Ruth's story, and together, we can challenge the narrative that aging means inevitable decline. The future of healthy aging starts with you, and it starts today.